When you're knee-deep in the shit in the military, you don't have that luxury.
Right.
There ain't no Tinder for a new squad leader. Yep, yeah. That's, right? That's it. I'm Andy, he's Dylan, National Guard, Reserve. Here we are sitting down, talking about dual status. We are citizen soldiers here in the great United States of America, where freedom is still free. And what we want to talk about with our audience that's joining us from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are, is the transformation from troop in boots to citizen veteran thing. Right? Because there's a lot of things there. So we're going to put together a handful of videos talking about that transformation. Because in the military, it's always called a transition, but transition is A to B. Transformation is I have to change the way I see the world in order to be combat effective in this new place that we call the civilian world. Yeah. So let's talk about that. You know what? Let's start right there. The civilian world.
Feels like combat, right?
Feels like combat. There's truth, right? The civilian world is a contact sport. Yeah. Right? In the military, often there is a clear pass-fail. I liken the military similar to academia, yeah. Right? I went to college, you went to college. It is here are the clearly defined rules, parameters, culture, on a regular basis, on a semester basis or quarterly basis in the military. Are you or are you not making standard? Yep. Right, and there is here's the expectation, here's what you did, here's where you exceeded or failed to succeed. Yep. How does that compare to the civilian world, Dylan?
I think there's 100,000 different standards, right? Because there's 100,000 different people in your life that all have their own standards. Yep. And if you want to kind of bridge that gap, if that's where we're going with the conversation, I think you need to create your own standard for how you act and how you perceive yourself. Yep. And then start imparting that on the world as best you can. But you also have to be willing to accept feedback and learn where you can and cannot do these things. Right? I can't stress that enough, because so many people have, from being National Guard, so many active duty guys have come back into the National Guard to say, I just miss the camaraderie. But they struggle so hard coming back into civilian life because they're used to that hardness, but also that structured hardness where, you can do whatever the fuck you want in uniform, but when you step out of uniform, how do you act? How do you, how are you perceived? How are you respected or disrespected? And learning how to manage that is arguably the more difficult.
Yeah, even when you're on a military installation, yep. And you put on civilian clothes, you get off post. When you're around that culture, right? Yep. Those people, even the people you hang out with, there's still an established pecking order. Right. Right? If you go out, you're kind of like, oh, this guy is that, or this girl's that, right? And there's these rules that even outside of uniform, outside of a mission, you play by. I know that. I've been in the reserves now 18 years. I've been deployed twice, and I've gone to plenty of military schoolings where it's like, my brain just flips. As soon as I go to military school, you go out, even off post. You go I go in the reserves, we go to Fort Knox a lot. Yep. So we almost inevitably end up in Louisville some weekend. Yep. And you still do those little nuanceical things that come natural, right? I walk to the left and a half a pace behind the superior person, right? And my expectation is if I'm the guy in charge, right? Even in a place it doesn't matter, right? You still kind of rank and file. Yep. And in the civilian world, it's chaos. Yep. And so to your point, in order to be successful in the civilian world, what you said is dead on. You have to establish what are your SOPs, mm-hmm. right? What are your standards and what are the procedures you go through every day to make you successful? Yep. In order to do that, you got to define to yourself, right? You have to be self-reflective and self-aware. What are your values and your beliefs? Put out how you feel about the world, put it out to the world, and then expect that not everyone's going to take what you say and believe it as gospel. Yep. In the military, when you have an established position, people have to. Yep. When you're in the civilian world, you can say something to them, they can tell you to go fuck off, pound sand, yep. in a heartbeat. And then once you do that, you have to continually put yourself out there in order to either find or develop your tribe. Because the military, your friend group is handed to you, right? When you make E5, it's like now you're hanging out with the other team leaders.
It's not a choice; it's a lack of options.
Correct. There's a lack of options. Like you hang out with the people in your squad, then the people in your platoon, eventually the people in your company. And that's kind of your boys. You know, when I became a platoon sergeant, I had 2 friends. It was 2nd platoon sergeant and 3rd platoon sergeant, and occasionally headquarters platoon sergeant. Right, when he wasn't doing things with the 1st sergeant or ops NCO. But those were my friends. It's like, well, you know, they have to be E6 or E7. They can't report to me. I'm not going to go hang out with other people from other platoons because you don't do that, right? I don't want to mix in their Kool-Aid. In the civilian world, it's this fair game thing. And a lot of times you get lumped in with like, oh, you're the veteran and you're the veteran. You guys should be friends. And it's like, for you and I, it worked out. But I've had more relationships with veterans than non-veterans that got sour because there was this expectation we're going to take care of each other. And the difference is in the military, you can fake the funk for a while, but you'll get found out. Civilian world, I've seen veterans and civilians not fake the funk. The challenge is when you got that, you know, that wolf in sheep's clothing, where you have those veterans that say, "Oh, I got you, bro. I'm gonna take care of you," but in the actuality, civilian world there are no rules. It's everyone's out for themselves. Even veterans.
Right, and that's a really good point. Is like when you step into the civilian world is not the same in terms of how you support other people, because the Army's always got your back when you're in the Army or military, let's say. And so there's always this kind of established support structure behind you. So your general focus is other people, right? You can generally focus on other people because you always have this support structure behind you to do things. You step into the civilian world, nobody's got your back. If you don't have a family, nobody's got your back.
And people that say you have your back, again, it's always, you know, I look at almost everything in life is 3, you know, in thirds, I should say. You get the sometimes, always, never. And you have to go out there and meet a lot of people to figure out who are the people that are always going to have your back, who are the people that are going to sometimes have your back, and who are the people that are never going to have your back. And the challenge is, the ones, for me at least, when I first came back, the people that identified themselves early and often were the never people. They never had my back. They wanted to know, oh, what can I get from you? Not what can I do for you? Remember I met you like 9 months ago, and...
How was it that long ago?
It was the beginning of the year. 8, 9 months ago. Yeah, it's October. It was January-ish.
I feel like this year's just flown by.
2022. It's been a good, well, for me, it's been a good ride because we're over the COVID bullshit, and people are getting back to it. But no, so 9 months ago, when I met you, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down with this guy, right, and give him a chance and see what his story is, right? And I met you through a chamber. When I first got to chambers, I remember it was like every veteran was like, hey, man, we're both vets, so you should buy the thing I have. And I'm like, hey, no. Now, eventually, some of them worked out. Like my insurance guy worked out great. Eric, he's awesome, Marine Corps vet. But he thought I was going to just jump insurance companies because he was a veteran. I was like, fuck you, right? And over time, I did buy insurance from him, but he's one of probably 20, 30 veteran salespeople I met in my first year in business that were just trying to hawk me stuff. And I can't even tell you the other 28, 29 guys. Because they were in and out. They were trying to sell me life insurance. They were trying to, you know, have my banking relationship with them. All this crap, and it's like, hey man, just how about look out for me first. And with you and I, it was like we sat down. We're like, oh, okay, we got something here, right? I'm not trying to sell shit to you. You're not trying to sell shit to me. And let's sit down and have dialogue and figure out where we're at. Now, you have a book and you've been very successful on social media. And instead of me saying like, hey, what can you do for me, right? It's, hey, what can I do for you? It's like, oh, let's sit down and let's have these conversations. But now it's going to be mutually beneficial. There's nothing wrong with saying no to fellow veterans if they don't fit where you're going. Well, the reason we're doing this is I had a call this morning with a Marine Corps colonel. He's getting out in 9 months. Terminal leave ends in 1 year. And he's prepping his battlefield. And I gave him some words of advice. But a lot of times when guys are transforming themselves, they don't know where to start. And if you talk to people in active duty world, they don't know. And if you right, and if you talk to people that are civilians, they don't know. And so we have a unique position where we've always had one boot in each world. And now we lean in a little bit more, right? I got a little beard. Obviously, I've been leaning into the Army lately. But then there's times where I've deployed, and the civilian world is this far, far, far away place. So we're going to put out a little of this content because what we're seeing is people are reaching out to us and asking us questions because the programs aren't there. The civilians, your friends, your family, the people you know that have not gone through this, they just don't know. So we're going to continue to put out content in this same vein to set up soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, and Space Force individuals. What are they called?
Heroes.
Space Force heroes, so that when they transition from the troop and boots to the veteran in the civilian world, they have the information so they can transform their mind about what they're going to see when they get downrange. Cilantro.
Did you say cilantro?
No, not cilantro. I'm one of those dish soap people when it comes to fucking cilantro. No, cilantro. It's Irish. That's what they say.
Never heard it.
Cilantro. I worked at a German.
Like cilantro.
I worked at a corner bar.
Spice it up.
Yeah, I worked in a corner bar in an old German neighborhood and wore a fucking kilt on a Friday night because that seemed to be the thing at the time. All right, so let's go down the hit list. Top 3 things that are like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be that way. When they're coming from the active duty world into the civilian world and or they join the reserves or National Guard.
I would say the realization that they need to have empathy for other people.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one.
That one, I think when soldiers transition into understanding that, their whole perspective change. I've seen this so many times with guard, active dude guys coming to guard, and me having that conversation with them. After that conversation and after that realization and putting things together, that's when people really start to recognize, oh, this is a completely different world that requires me to be more human than more soldier.
Yeah.
And that recognition, in my experience, has saved many relationships, marriages, relationship with children, coworkers. I mean, even just their military career. Rather than them getting out, they were like, wow, if I can just become a leader that is more empathetic towards people who have not been through what I've been through, and I don't have to put them through what I've been through, life just becomes more calm.
Yeah, and that's definitely a lesson I'm still learning. I came back from Iraq and I was hard. I got back from Gitmo and I was hard. Right, you're hardened, right. And you don't understand it. It was like a year plus after I got back from Gitmo, a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. I was working for a radio station, and I was dating this girl at the radio station, and she said that she never liked to hang out with me on the weekends I had drill or the couple days thereafter, because she's like, you're kind of an asshole until like Wednesday or Thursday of that week.
Yeah.
And I didn't even notice it.
Yep.
I was a E5 at the time, so I had a team leader. They're just like, it took 2 days back at drill to go right back to where I was in Iraq, where everything was in black and white, clear and concise. We're not going to waste fucking words. Just tell it to me straight, right? And now when you're dating somebody and also working in the radio station, there's nothing hard about radio, right? This outside, not the physical job, but like it's a soft, empathetic, open kind of industry. Everyone wants to be cool. You want to be liked. You want to have fun. And I would just be a fucking asshole. And I didn't even notice it. I was like, no, this is the way it is. And they're like, oh. That probably doesn't take a role here. All right, so first lesson, empathy. What's the next lesson?
What do you have?
Loyalty. In the military, you are, it goes in line with this empathy mindset. In the military, you have this mindset that everyone around you is loyal. And I will say in the military, they are because it's part of the job. Right. They might talk shit, but they'll still do what you say. Right. You get to the civilian world, there is no loyalty. Right. And here's the thing. I'm not opposed to it. I got a letter of reprimand when I was in Gitmo because I told team leaders and squad leaders in the platoon I was the platoon sergeant for that I didn't trust the first sergeant. My exact words were, she didn't know how to do her fucking job. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, she eventually got relieved of command, so obviously I wasn't fucking wrong. And this is where one thing I don't agree with the military on, right? Even with the Army values, right? Loyalty is one of our Army values. Yep. However, in the military, where people have gotten hemmed up is blind loyalty. Right. That's when you start following people and not what is the greater good of the Army. Yeah. That's when you start following leaders because of likership, not Army doctrine. Yeah. That's where you brush things under the rug versus doing what you know, right? Immoral, illegal, unethically to be right because you were loyal to a person and loyal to a fault. So that's the challenge of the military. It's, in my opinion, people take this loyalty and use it in excess where it ends up being detrimental. Now, on the flip side, in the civilian world, people aren't loyal. Yep. Right? You will jump ship and go work for another company for another $5,000 a week of vacation. Yep. You will talk shit about your boss, and you will go behind their back if you don't like them, and you'll fail at your work in spite of them. Yep. versus just chin up and figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lack of loyalty. Look at the amount of people that are in relationships that go sour. Right? You get in one fight with your significant other, you download fucking Tinder and you fucking swipe away. Right? That's it. Yeah. When you're knee deep in the shit in the military, you don't have that luxury.
Right.
There ain't no Tinder for a new squad leader. Yep, yeah. That's right. That's it.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh my God. Well, because you're right in the military, you can't shy of something doing someone egregious. Yeah. You can't fire them.
Nope.
So you
typically you'll just promote them.
Correct. That's the fastest way to get rid of somebody in the military is promote them.
Send them to the other battalion.
So yeah. What are you, terrible here? How about we give you a little more money, a little bit of rank, but over there, right? Because you're not my problem, right? Yep. Okay. So you say empathy was the biggest thing. I say loyalty.
Expression.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose.
And this kind of goes with both. It's this sense of loyalty to team, rather than understanding the ability to express the feelings and the emotions that you have.
So it's self-expression versus
right. It's the idea that suffer in silence still applies when you step into the civilian world, and that's I think fundamentally wrong. Right, because when you don't have the ability to express yourself, reasonably and in a healthy manner, in a way that can, express to someone where they've crossed your boundaries or you're having issues, there may not be active support structures like the military in the civilian world that are, to the level of what the military has, but there are structures that can help you. But you need to also learn how to express yourself to actually utilize them. And there's so many programs out there now for veterans specifically. And so I think one of those big transformation points is when you learn that you can actually express yourself and it's okay.
And not only is it okay, it's encouraged. Right? In the military, I'm a master resiliency trainer. And one of the first lessons we talk about is, within the first hour of resiliency training, which is an 80-hour course, we talk about asking for support. They use the word help. I hate the word help. But asking for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. Right. Now, the military has identified that one of the challenges they've had over the last 30, 40 years is that you go hard, figure it out, suffer in silence, right? And now the military has been like, okay, no, actually, before you off yourself or do something else, actually look for support. In the civilian world, it remains the same. The difference is, to your point, the structure's not there. Right? In the Army, it's like, oh, go see the chaplain. There ain't no fucking chaplain around here. Right? Now, there's a church. There's a community. There's people. Right? The VA, it's a big, scary white building, but there are good people in the VA. But you got to walk in there and say, hi, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to get to. And here's where I'm having a gap. And I need to talk to somebody. You don't have to wait till you're looking for the 800 number to go out looking for that type of support. So recognize that the solutions are out there, but to your point, you have to be willing and able to be vulnerable and honest and transparent to express yourself first. So you have to be self-aware of what your values and beliefs are. You have to self-regulate in the real time what you are and are not going to put up with. And then in reflection, you have to be comfortable enough to be aware, and then the next time you have an opportunity, you can say to someone, hey, this is who I am, this is where I draw the line, and if you cross the line, I got to remove myself from the situation. I had one of those conversations recently. I then talked to my counselor about it, and my counselor was like, no, good. You don't have to suffer, right? You don't have to love your siblings. If you don't get along with them, you don't get along with them. If you draw a line and you're happier, God bless. Right? And it was because I years of counseling figured that out. Because I thought, hey, don't be empathetic, be an asshole, be loyal to everybody, suffer in silence, that's the way to go. So there's your highlight reel, right? Go out there, recognize that the world is going to chew you up and spit you out if you don't put yourself out there. Be honest with who you are and those around you, and the support structure, your tribe, you will find in time, so long as you're aware of those 3 lessons learned.